Having entered your home details, fixed costs and staff costs, you can now create quotes that will give you a genuine fee based on the running costs of your home and the care that the person actually needs. So if you want to create a new quote, you go to new quote, or you can go up to the top and create a new quote from there. So here you have the new quote page where you enter the details of the person, who's completing the information and when. And then here you put in any extra standard care and nursing care that's required. So along the top you have the care part, so you have the number of minutes of care that needs to be delivered, how often, and how many members of staff. And you end up with a care total in minutes, this for the day, and the same for nursing. Nurse minutes, frequency, nurse staff, how many staff, and nurse total. Down the side you have typical care provision, but if the care needs aren't covered under any of these sections, you can enter as other, or you can add a new row to be more specific, and you can have several rows. Along the bottom, you get total hours for the day, for care, and for nurse. Next, you have specialist care. Does the person need any specialist care, whether it's one-to-one personal care restriction, well-being, or 15 minutes observation or nursing intervention, and then any medical sundries and specialist equipment, and then you save to quote. So let's create a new quote. So you see I've done this before. Date of birth. Let's just pick a date. Let's say he was born in 1950 in July the 12th. I'm completing the information and it will always show today's date, which you can change, and then save that. Now let's say your home is a residential home and John doesn't actually need any extra care, or he does need a bit of basic nursing care, but it's covered in the running costs, in your general running costs. So if we save to quote, remember your fixed costs per resident was $83.16 in this example. Obviously you would put in your own numbers. You had your care salary, monthly salary cost, your nurse salary cost, and then lumped together is everything else, reception, admin, ancillary management, and so on. And you had a total break-even point of £802.48. Within the care salary, divide this by your hourly rate with on-cost, and that means that in this case, John and all your other residents can have 3 hours 29 minutes of care, and in this case 1 hour 26 minutes of nursing. Now let's say John does need extra care, and as you can see we're on version 1. So extra standard care and nursing required. Now within the 3 hours 29 minutes he does need personal care, but it's covered by that 3 hours 29 minutes. But let's say he needs extra care with regards to feeding and hydration. Now hydration, how many times you help him have a drink could be covered in the 3 hours 29, but when it comes to feeding, he needs extra help. So let's say it's 30 minutes, 3 times a day, 1 member of staff. So that's 90 minutes, and as you see down here, the total of 1 hour 30. Does John need any medication? Any extra nursing care? Well, medication is probably covered in the 1 hour 26 minutes within the running cost, and therefore it doesn't need to be put in here as extra. Now what if John was, say, a falls risk? So every time he wants to go for a walk, he needs to be escorted by a carer. Now let's say each time he goes for a walk lasts about 10 minutes, and he tends to do this around 8 times a day, and you need 1 carer. So that's an extra 80 minutes, and therefore in total you've got 2 hours 50 minutes. And that covers his needs. With regards to specialist care, there's one-to-one care, he doesn't need that. Personal care restriction, let's say he doesn't need that. Well-being, extra well-being time, one-to-one, doesn't need that. But maybe during the night, he does need 15-minute observations. Now, each observation would take, let's say, 5 minutes. You do the observation and to do the paperwork. And it's at night time, and it's one member of staff, and it's for a 12-hour shift. If you are putting in personal care restriction, bear in mind that this is in minutes, hence the minutes in here. And in here, if it's 1 hour, you would say 60 minutes. There you go, 1 hour or 7 hours total weekly. So going back to 50 minutes obs, 4 hours in the day, 28 hours a week. Nursing intervention is also in minutes. Does John need any medical sundries? So for example, continence supplies. Let's say it costs £35 a week. Does he need anything else? If he does, simply add the row. And the same goes for any specialist equipment. So save to quote. So now your 2 hours 50 minutes is here, which comes to £260.41 based on the average care hourly rate with on cost. And for the 50 minutes observations, £367.64 for the week. Medical sundries, £35. So now your break-even point has gone from £802.48, taking in the extra cost of care, to £1,465.53. Now you have to add your impact analysis. So let's say you have John for 5 years, his care needs don't change, but what will change is your overall cost from the point of view of food, fuel, national living wage, and so on. Now, you can't go back to your referrer and get an increase because of those rises in cost. You can only review the client needs and change your fee based on those needs. So you need to give yourself some cushioning for future cost rises. Let's say it's 2.5%, 3%, whatever it might be. That's an extra £43.97 a week in this case. Now, you're a business, so of course you need to have a profit of at least 30%, which comes to £646.93. So your total fee is £2,156.43. Now, if it's the beginning of the fiscal year and your LA gives you an annual uplift, you can add that in here. So you have your £2,156.43 and the profit of 646 plus your impact analysis of £690.90. Now, when it comes to delivering your fee, if your referrer wants a breakdown of the costs, you can break down the cost of the care, but you don't want to separate out the profit. And you can't put it in the specific breakdown of the care. So you need to hide your profit within the general running cost of your home. So here, the tool allows you to split between fixed costs and other staffing costs. Now, let's say you don't have a commercial loan, for example, and your fixed costs are lower than what others may be. And so therefore, you want to put more of your profit into the fixed costs. And in fact, why don't we just go 50-50? So £345, 45 pence in each. And then you can view the quote with the hidden profit. So now your fixed cost has increased to take in that amount of profit, as has your other staffing costs. And your fee is the same. This now is your quote, and you can transfer all this information into the template form that you use when you put in a quote to your referrer, your local authority. You can print this into a PDF, or you can print it out and file it for safekeeping. Now, if you then have a discussion with your referrer and they would like some movement, well, that's up to you if you want to move. But let's say you decide that, okay, we're going to, so let's say the falls risk, we'll see how it goes, is 6 times a day. So we'll just make the change here, but you want to keep the previous version of the quote so you don't lose that and don't have to recreate it. So save and create a new version. So here's your new version 2. Save to quote, version 2, with the reduced care hours per day. And now you have your 2 versions. So this is version 1 with the 2 hours 50 and version 2 with the 2 hours 30. So going up here, you can look and see all your live quotes. So here's John Doe and his 2 versions. You also have other people that you've quoted for. You can again edit, you can view, you can archive. So if you don't win that person, they don't come to your home, you can archive them. You can completely delete them, or you can make them a resident. And we'll look at that in another video.